The entire biotech cohort is flying today. In addition to a very hot IPO, maybe too hot, we've also got some very positive news from one of my favorite junior biotech companies, and that's Isis Pharma. Before I get down to the weeds here, though, let me remind you what's been happening in biotech land. After speeding along for months, this entire group got slammed into a retaining wall back in March. It had overheated, and we got hit with a hideous sell-off, simply because they'd suddenly gone out of favor on the Wall Street fashion show. A little more than a month ago, the biotech's bottom. Since then, they've been steadily churning their way higher. In short, biotech is now back. We hope not too back, but that means the upside from Isis Pharmaceutical could be very good. I've been recommending Isis for 2.5 years, largely because this company has pioneered antisense technology that allows them to change the RNA in your cells in order to fix problems caused by genetic abnormalities. This platform has given Isis one of the best pipelines in the business. It's got 38 drugs in development, many of which could be major blockbusters. Last time we spoke to Isis was in early May. We just learned that the company had licensed this revolutionary anticoagulant drug, which miraculously stops blood clots from forming without causing excess bleeding, and they licensed that to Bayer. Since then, the stock's rallied 14%. Today, we got some terrific data on one of those pipeline drugs I love so much, a treatment for spinal muscular atrophy, SMA, which is the leading cause of infantile death worldwide. These phase 2 results show that the compound is saving babies' lives and increasing their muscle function. Remember, this is just one of many impressive prospects in the company's vast pipeline. Isis also has a drug in phase 3 for TTR amyloidosis, a rare and often fatal genetic disease, along with a phase 2 treatment for high triglyceride levels, some diabetes formulations, and an early-stage cancer treatment. Now let's check in with Dr. Stanley Crook, the founder, chairman, CEO of Isis Pharmaceuticals, hear more about this new data and where his company is headed. Dr. Crook, welcome back to Mad Money.
Oh, it's great to be back. Thank you for having me, Jim.
Okay, Stan, I want to read you a line from today's conference call because I want you to explain to people what the impact is. You say, here's what these infants have achieved as of April 17, 2015. As you can see, to 19 more these events can hold their head up normally, with additional number of infants who can now maintain control with some wobbling. How different is that than it would be before the formulation?
Spinal muscular atrophy type 1 is a disease that is fatal. And typically, natural history studies and contemporary natural history studies are very solid, suggest that these babies will either die or require mechanical ventilation for them to breathe within 6 to 10 months of their birth, tragically. And the reason that happens is that they don't form normal junctions between their muscles and their nerves, and as a consequence, their muscles become weaker and weaker. They're known as floppy babies because most of the time they can't move muscles. Many of these babies, when they enter the trial, can't even move a toe or move a finger. So when we are able to prolong these babies' lives, and certainly the data suggests that we may be doing that, and make the muscles stronger, they're able to do things that SMA babies just haven't been able to do before, like rolling over, like sitting up, like moving their hands and grasping things. These are very fundamental changes in the performance of these infants that suggest that there's a very substantial drug effect.
Now, Stan, one thing I'm trying to understand is that you're a very cautious person and a cautious company. Several times in the conference call, you used the following phrase, which is that I want to remind you that these data come from an uncontrolled label, open label study. Does that mean what you're saying is that the FDA may be reluctant just to say tomorrow we're going to approve this?
Well, I'd rather focus on what I'm reluctant to say.
Okay.
I don't think we've proven benefit. When we began this trial, it was primarily a safety trial. And our hope was that we would see some signs of benefit, maybe stabilization of the disease. Obviously, we've seen a great deal more than that. We've seen evidence of prolonged survival. We've seen improve muscle function scores using a measure called CHOP and 10, 17-point increase as a mean in the 12 milligram group now. And we've seen babies being able to do things that SMA babies typically can't do. However, it is not placebo-controlled. We have the benefit of a very recent contemporaneous natural history study performed by many of the physicians that are in our phase 2 trial. So we haven't proven anything yet. What we have is tremendous encouragement that the phase 3 trials that will define the value of SMNRX have a real opportunity to be positive and to make fundamental changes in the course of this disease. And that is something that we all desperately want to see happen.
But you did, right, again, you say no deaths since the last analysis. Would there be in the placebo, would you have expected that there would have been deaths by now?
Oh, very much so. You know, the natural history studies show that some 50% of the babies will be dead or require mechanical ventilation somewhere between age 6 months and 10 months of age. And all of our infants are significantly older than that. The longest term treatment is you know, the infants are 27 months old. And of course, we had a very bad cold and flu season. And these infants, because they can't move their respiratory muscles, don't move air. And as a consequence, they're very prone to viral infections in the cold and flu season. And to have made it through this very difficult cold and flu season with these infants doing as well as they have is a source of tremendous encouragement to us.
Well, Stan, I've got to tell you, I know that if I were a parent of a child who had this, I would be begging you right now to say, listen, please. But it's not really up to you, right? It's up to the FDA, and they have their standards, and they've got to go through procedures. And that's something you've never objected to. You're a rules player when it comes to these kinds of medicines, right?
We haven't proven anything yet. We have got to focus our energies on getting the phase 3 studies done as rapidly as possible so that we can make this medicine available as broadly as possible. Once we have definitively shown that the benefit that we think we're seeing, we hope we're seeing, is actually true and proven. And there's only the parents could care more about bringing this drug forward than we do.
Okay. I want to thank you again, Dr. Stanley Crook, founder, chairman, CEO of ISIS Pharmaceuticals, for sharing us with this very hopeful news. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is what we always want to talk about, which is that you don't want to get too excited about biotech, but you have to understand and appreciate exactly what Stanley Crook had to say. After the break, we'll try to make you more money. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.